I don't know anybody here.
Well, start us off. Say your name and what school you go to. Go around this way. Just say your name and what school you go to.
Randy Alvin, East Grand Rapids Junior High.
Stephen Galley, Northeast Junior High.
David Muller, East Grand Rapids Junior High.
Dana Bowers, East Grand Rapids Junior High.
Mark Chandler, Boystown Central Minnesota.
Karen Bog, Valleywood Middle School.
Where?
Valleywood. Valleywood.
Where's that?
In Kentwood. Bidding Center, Grand Haven Junior High. Jennifer Wilson, East Grand Rapids Junior High. Jennifer Jellison, EFL Junior High.
East where?
EFL.
That's in Holland.
I wonder if we've got a couple of Dutchmen here.
I'm not Dutch.
I understand you were a Dutch hat.
I sure do.
This is Lori Jackson Park Junior High.
Nice to be with you. Now, I'm to talk about liberalism.
Well, and you're to talk maybe a little bit about what's happened since you came here. You came here in 1944, I understand.
Yes, do these upstanding young people know what liberalism is?
Mark seems to think he knows.
Well, a little more freedom to believe what you want and certain things and feel the way you want about it and stuff.
Yeah, that's good. That's a major part of it. Anything else?
Being open-minded. Being open-minded.
Very good. That's very important. Basic. Anything else? Now, I would like to just talk about that for a while. Liberalism is a scientific approach, basically. At least I identify it that way. And science is always open, always seeking the truth, and always discovering. And so, yes, who are very open in their science and very closed-minded in their politics or in their economics or in their religion. Some very closed-minded scientists who assume that the truth has been given religiously, even though they're still seeking scientific knowledge. So liberalism, you see, is very weak, because what it means is that you say, I believe this, I think. I am positive of this. Sorry. You always come on back. You never can be absolutely sure. Never sure of anything. And that's very difficult to live with, for whatever reasons, and I don't know all the reasons. It'd be fun, and I should investigate it more. But we like to be sure. We like to have the answers. It's terrible in school if you don't know the answers, and there aren't any answers. I remember being very upset and angry, but it's wonderful if you have geometry and you open up the book and find the answers in the back. You know, there it is. Definitive, always definitive. But you discuss something and you say, well, is it true or not? And you say, I don't know. It's partly true and it's partly false. Well, then what do you live on? Well, you live on the best you know. You live on the best truth that you can find. And how can you be sure? You can't. Well, then how do you act? Well, you act as well as you can, as cleanly as you can, as firmly as you can. You're always walking around it and saying, I think, I believe, it looks as if, this seems to be the best of our knowledge, by the best that we've been able to find so far, this is true, this is good, but we're not sure. It's hard to sell. Terribly hard to sell that. Terribly hard to accept it. I hope it won't be in 50 years, but it is now. And most of you, all of you, are going to be living, for the most part, and are now, with people who will be in the opposite direction. They will have the answers. They will know, and they will scorn you for not knowing, or they will be astonished or laugh at you for your indecisiveness, your lack of certainty. And this is a fight that you will have all your life. You have to fight against the temptation to have the answer, and you have to fight against the uncertainty of not having the answer, and you have to protect yourself against the people who are going to be making demands of you to give me the answers. The people will. This is, as I say, why liberalism is very weak numerically, very weak in attitude and spirit in the world. If you watched any of Holocaust, you see that's the kind of world in which that fascist world. I use the term fascist, authoritarian, totalitarian, where things are run from a central place and the policies are laid down, not open for discussion. They're laid down by one or a group, and programs are decided on, and the truth is known and the answers are given. Is what gives strength. And we have to find a way of being strong in our uncertainty. And that's the challenge of being a liberal. To be firm with your doubts, not be worried about doubting, not be anxious about, to be firm with your doubts, not be worried about doubting, not be anxious about lack of clarity, the lack of certainty. Very difficult. This church has been a liberal church, and by that I mean, again, as an illustration, we respect what has been, but we know that what has been is not what will do for us. And at the same time, what will do for us may not do for another generation to come. We have discarded the idea that religion gives final answers, gives firm answers. We've discarded the notion that God has spoken and that all we have to do is go back and understand what he said in the Bible, or Revelation, or what. And we've always been that way. It's for 100 years now. We have been a church like that. We were one of the very first churches in this country to adopt such an attitude and approach. And our approach came out of Europe. It was discovered and exemplified and talked about by the Germans first, and it's called scientific, and it came into this country not before 1880 to 1890. And as I said, we were in on it from the beginning, and we have continued to be that kind of church all these years. Now, because we don't have revelation, because we don't have final answers, because we don't believe in somebody giving us the truth, we're going to find it for ourselves, you said. This church can sometimes get to be very weak. And when I came here, it was extremely weak. It was almost at the point of being closed down. There were so few people involved, and so expensive, that we were very close to going out of existence. They'd had 10 years of 15 years of sort of dwindling interest, and I don't quite understand that. I don't know why yet. The leader at that time was the minister was a bright guy, and he was well educated. He was I don't know whether he was strong or not. He had many talents. He won prizes for his sermons, but somehow or other it didn't work, and it was gone down a long way. And that was the time when liberalism was strong, and it was gone down a long way. And that was the time when liberalism was strong. And in 1944, 30 to 40 began to go out. The 1920s were the strongest time, and then it started to diminish at the beginning of the World War II. 30 to 40 began to go out. The 1920s were the strongest time, and then it started to diminish at the beginning of the World War II, and liberalism has been very unpopular since then. Is unpopular now. The Jesus movement that you read about, and the fundamentalist reading that you read about, and the Eastern religions that are so popular, these are taking over. And I think that the next 5 years is going to be the hardest for liberalism of any that we have known so far. And you will be less respected, and I think you will find yourself fighting your case more. I think you will find it more difficult to hold to your principles, because we're in a time of fright and fear. And when you get frightened, you want answers. You want firm answers. You don't want any questions or doubts. So we will have difficulties. On the other hand, because the world is going so much that way, there will be a few always who won't go. And we need to be here for them. The few who will be turned off by this other approach and will not like it, not want it, and will need to have some place where they get encouragement to be scientific, to be open, to be tolerant, to be adventurous, to be questing. And The church has never been stronger than it is right now. I think that it will go on, this church being strong. But liberalism